philosophy is what Russell identifies as appearance versus reality. And he uses as an example the table that's in front of him, and he says, that when you look at the table from different angles, you see different perspectives, you see different vantage points, it has different light reflections. If you feel it, you sense a certain smoothness to it, and so you have these different sense perceptions of the table, but they change from the different perspectives. If you had a microscope up to it, if you were standing at this angle, the side of it versus parallel level to it, you have different perspectives. And so the question comes up is that what he's experiencing are his sense perceptions of the table. But the question that the philosophers ask is, do my sense perceptions accurately reflect reality? Like, my perceptions of it are not the same thing as the actual table. And so there's a distinction made between the table and my perceptions, and I assume, depending on your philosophical viewpoint, you assume that the table is the cause, like the real actual table, the physical material real table is the cause of my sense perception. But other philosophers have said, no, it's just, there's all mind, and so the table is not real physical matter. And an idealist philosopher would say, well, it's just a perception of the mind. Like if you had a dream, you might have similar sense perceptions, but the sense perceptions are not actually indicating a reality there, a material reality. And so you can't assume that it's the cause of material. If you're an idealist, they would say it's in the mind of God, or other philosophers would say it's a collection of souls that are causing this. As bizarre as that sounds, but there's different interpretations of sense perception. So the first problem with philosophy that you experience is reality? What is the nature of reality? Because I can't get outside of my sense perception and experience reality. All I can experience is filtered through my sense perception. And so whether or not my sense perception is accurate, as a philosopher, you'd have to say, I don't know if my sense perception is accurate, because I can't get outside of my senses and analyze whether the thing that really exists, if it really exists, is being accurately relayed to me through my senses. It's filtering through my senses, and I'm getting an actual real understanding of that table. So this is one of the problems that they experience. And as we as Christians would refer to the fact that our sense perceptions were created by God expressly to have dominion in the earth. And so we can make sense of the fact that our senses accurately reflect the material world. We've been made in the image of God. There is a physical world that we can account for, which we'll get into that, the matter, existence of material. But as far as our sense perceptions, we can refer back to scriptures and say, well, as a Christian, we can make sense of the fact that our sense perception does consistently and accurately reflect the real world that we operate in. But occasionally, there are delusions that we can fall under. There are errors that we can fall under. Our sense perception can be mistaken, can be deceived. And so that is also a possibility that the Christian worldview can account for. There's sin, there's deception, there's fraud, there's liars, there are other things that can affect sense perception. So the Christian worldview has an edge on accounting for this, but most people don't question their sense perception. They just assume that it's accurate because they operate in the world. They live and move, and they go down to the store and buy their groceries. But they don't realize that in order for your sense perception to be valid, you actually are depending on the Christian God. And if you eliminate the Christian God, you're stuck in this subjectivism that Russell is representing here, that we don't know really what reality is. All we know is we have sense perceptions that we assume are related to some material object. So that's just, as weird as it sounds, this is how you proceed rationally, in analyzing these things philosophically. So it's just something philosophers deal with.